Okay, let me get ready. Tonight's the night.
Hey, it's Media Pixel Fangirl, discussing music, TV, film, memes, and other mediums. Please comment, like, subscribe, or not. That's cool too.
Hey fellow fans, quick audio disclaimer. My sound isn't great in this video and my guest has quite a bit of background noise. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt your experience too much. I did my best to edit that out. Enjoy the video.
So today we've invited my brother, the person who got me into Dexter and who has read the books, to get another fan's take. In this video we'll talk about Dexter, tier the existing series, and guess to what will happen in the next one. Before we decided to do this, before I heard about the season 9 announcement, I had just finished rewatching all of Dexter since 2012. I had rewatched the show at least a handful of times before 2013, and once season 8 ended, I never revisited the show because I was so betrayed that I couldn't return to it. A couple weeks ago, I restarted it, watched the whole thing, and then 4 days later, the announcement came of we're getting another season. And I feel like Dexter's always been a show where the rumors are always out there of it's coming back, and you're like, how are they going to bring it back? It was such a terrible ending.
Yeah.
Here we are. It's coming back. And then when I told you this, and that I wanted to talk to you about Dexter for this video, what did you do?
I tried to watch all of them from beginning to end, but I gave myself, I think, less than a week to get that all done, which was about 3 seasons worth in
That's respectable.
2 or 3 days.
What?
Autobiographical.
No way.
Yep.
So how did you get into Dexter?
Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I think I saw our niece post something about the show and how she was into it, and I came across it at Best Buy and figured it was on sale. I had nothing to do. It was summertime, and I bought the first season, and I pretty much binged it in just a couple days. Went back to Best Buy and ended up buying the second season because that was already out at the time. So really consumed it pretty quickly as soon as I watched the first season.
Yeah. I remember how I got into it, and it was that there was a DVD lying around the house, and I was like, oh, what is this? Oh, Dexter. Never heard of this before. But that's
Yeah.
like, it was it. That was it. It was like Dexter and an episode of True Blood.
Oh, okay. Around the time when I first, had watched the first 2 seasons, the third one was about to drop, and Kristalina was working at Comcast, and Showtime was one of their clients. So they had given them out these demos of the new seasons that hadn't been released yet, and that's where that was. That was I think the first episode of season 3 was on like a little standalone demo disc that, was given to me. And
Oh, well, that was my intro. I guess I didn't start watching until season 3. Apparently, there's a bunch of Dexter marketing campaigns that were really successful. Something that I remember really latching onto was that there was a mobile app, and there was a trivia game called Dexter's Disciples, and you'd go in, and after each episode came out, they'd have trivia, and you would collect blood slides. Like every answer you got right in trivia, you'd get a blood slide for that episode. So even
That's
when I was
cool.
watching them, I was like obsessed with like getting every blood slide and just looking at them and touching them like this.
all the victims, your trophies.
Yes, my trophies. And I also remember they had like a photo booth feature, and this was before season 8 dropped, and we were all hyped for season 8. Like, this is gonna be so good, guys. This is gonna be Sopranos level good ending. So we're all like taking photos like Dexter, like with the dead hand from the season 1. Turns out that was the end of Dexter. Until now.
Little did we all know, though.
Before we get into the tiering, I want to talk about our tiering criteria. And there's really, in my mind, 3 elements that make up every Dexter season. So 1 is the killer, like who's the big bad of the season. 2 is the love interest, which almost every season there is one. And then
Yeah.
3 is the theme. So each element
Cool.
will rank.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Season 1. The big bad is Ice Truck Killer / Brian Moser. Love interest is innocent Rita Bennett, because we get
Yeah,
Rita
tolerable Rita.
And then I thought the theme was monsters, because we get a lot of Dexter being like, oh, I'm a monster.
I can really be a monster. Today, I'm just a sea monster.
Also added just like notable shit that didn't fall into those that might affect our ranking. And for this, I said it's the season most based off the book. This was the first time an anti-hero was like huge. Dexter was one of the first anti-heroes, if not the first. They made us root for the bad guy, and I feel like that's notable and kind of like changed the TV landscape. And also the music is just dope as fuck.
Yeah, the music running through the whole thing is just amazing. The Latin part of it that would come on too, like all those jams were great for the feel of Miami. And
I give Killer S tier.
Yeah.
Brian Moser he's almost never matched as being the best killer on Dexter.
Yeah.
Rita, she's the most tolerable version of Rita we get. And the theme of monsters, it has to be talked about. It's super appropriate. It sets the tone for everything. So I know I put this S tier, but where do you put season 1?
Yeah, no question. It's definitely the best season there is that first one. It's a roller coaster after that because it definitely has its ups and downs, but the highest it goes is season 1.
Season 2, we got Bay Harbor Butcher. So I guess Dexter's the killer.
Jesus Christ, Morgan. Jesus Christ, you're the Bay Harbor Butcher.
I really hate that name.
Maybe you can argue it's Sergeant Dokes, low-key.
Yeah.
Love interest is Rita / Lila West. We'll get into that. And I thought the theme was addiction. Because this is when Dexter tries to go all straight edge with his killing. And let's be real, the only straight edge with Dexter is his knife.
Lila, I feel like a lot of people love to hate Lila. And it's the first time we see Dexter getting any pushback from Rita, and the whole reason he picked her was because she was just so innocent and she more needed him.
I freaking love the scene where Rita's taking him, because she's like forcing him to go to, is it AA? And
yeah.
She's like driving him up in the minivan, and she's like, oh, who's your sponsor? And he's like, oh, she's right there. And she's like, what? And she looks over and it's just like this hottie, and her mind's like, and she's just thinking, fuck.
That's the whole ending scene of that. It's literally her turning and like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have gotten him into this program.
It's like, it's okay if you're using
you can already,
babe. Let our
she's already worrying about her.
Yeah,
she's already worrying about Rita as a kind of a threat.
Other notable things about this season: Sergeant Dokes as the Butcher, and then getting killed, and just the infamous meme, surprise motherfucker. Yeah,
you'll never forget surprise motherfucker, surprise motherfucker, surprise motherfucker,
sunrise motherfucker.
The list goes on, and kudos to everybody who put in any verbiage towards that meme.
Dokes was a good villain.
He was the best, and he's really cool in the book too.
Lila's like F tier love interest. I guess,
but I feel like she was good in the sense that everybody hated her.
Theme as addiction, it was pretty good. I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I don't have much to say about it. It worked.
It did. It was still solid writing, I would say, after that,
So where would you put season 2? Considering Bay Harbor Butcher, Lila, and addiction.
Maybe B or C.
Let's leave it at B. Season 3, we got the Skinner as our big bad, but I also put Miguel Prado DA in here, so let's be real. He's the real big bad here. Love interest, pregnant Rita. How do we feel about pregnant
Oh yeah,
Rita?
she's moody. There's like a good two, maybe episode or two where she's just full hormones and being the rudest person ever.
And that goes into our theme, fatherhood. Because I think this is when we found out more about Harry and his past, and how Dexter's like tied to that, and he's like having beef with his dad, right? Or the memory.
I feel like
of his dad.
another big theme for that season was kind of corruption, because there's a lot of corruption as far as, you know, the internal investigation with Quentin, or that's his name, right?
Joey Quinn.
Quinn, there we go. My bad. Thank you. Yeah, so there's like the whole thing with Quinn. He's a new character, and there's already a mystery behind him, and IA looking into him. And then as far as, you know, Miguel holding stuff off or letting people go so that they could get to another guy, just I feel like that whole season is riddled with a lot of corruption on the police.
That's a good one. The wedding was the season finale.
Yeah.
And I thought it was also, I'm going to throw in some personal notes about the actors. So this was the season where Michael C. Hall found out that he had cancer, and after the finale, he started chemo. And the year that this season came out, he also got married to Jennifer Carpenter, who plays Deborah Morgan, the sister. So I thought it was interesting that the season finale was the wedding, when there's also like an IRL wedding between the lead
characters,
of the show.
both in the show.
And I have to admit, when all is said and done, life is good.
So for me, I feel like the Skinner was one of the worst killers, as is Miguel Prado.
It was an underwhelming series, or season, I should say.
Yeah. Pregnant Rita, she's like starting to get annoying. And then the themes were pretty good. I guess they go along with that, but I don't know how you feel about it.
It was a good theme, I feel like, in that sense, as far as the corruption. But yeah, the whole thing with Miguel and then the baby on the side, it could have been a better season, you know?
Where would we put it? I'm definitely feeling more this area down here.
Yeah, I think it's an E.
I think it's an E. I feel that's fair. That's about right. It does get worse than this, but it's pretty bad. Like, this is where I felt like I felt like this was the sophomore slump for Dexter. This is where it's like, oh, this isn't going to be one of those shows like Breaking Bad where it's super strong throughout the whole show. Season 4. I feel like season 4 saved Dexter. Like, some of these shows, once you've had a bad season like the Miguel Prado, you never recover. And the Trinity season made me not want to abandon Dexter and keep watching. So
definitely. Season
4, our big bad is Trinity / Arthur Mitchell.
White male, maybe 6'4", 200, 220 pounds, age around 60. Hair gray, eyes blue. Something in them.
Our love interest is Rita, because she's mostly just like bitching at Dexter about not being home, and where are you, and you're always out, and are you cheating on me, but really I'm cheating on you now. And the theme was family man.
Mm-hmm. Now Dexter has a kid, and it's just funny how it starts with the intro, but with a kid now, so you think you're gonna watch the regular Dexter season intro, and it's just him super sluggish, you know, not doing anything right because he has a kid now, and you're just seeing how that has essentially taken the biggest toll of his life. And, you know, I mean, what's gonna happen to Dexter and his killing habits now that he can't even get a good night's sleep or stay out?
Oh, like that episode where he's like, where's the body? I don't know where I left the body.
I know.
And even
It's
in this terrible state, he's like, I'm a genius. I hid it up in the bag.
But realistically, I was watching that and also thinking, I mean, he would have smelt the body as soon as he walked in, you know? I
But
feel
if it's
like
all
at that point.
plastic,
They show him literally open up
that's
the
true.
thing,
That's
and
so
like the
true.
limbs are popping out.
And the blood is dripping down.
And the blood is dripping down,
Okay,
you know?
it would be a rancid corpse. Okay, you're right.
Because it had been at least 2 or 3 days sitting there while
You're
he
right.
was trying to come out of his concussion.
Oof. Pregnant Rita, when I think of her in this season, like, yeah, she's super hot now compared to, like, how innocent and meek she was in season 1. But I just think of that quote from Cobra Kai where he's like,
I didn't call her a bitch, I said she was bitching at me.
like, that's Rita in this season.
Yeah, no, she's definitely just, I feel like every season after 2, she gets just a little bit more bugging and annoying. And that's definitely the peak of it. And
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
And then the theme
and you will get got.
She gets got. Don't you worry. She gets super got. And notable things about this season, Lundy and Deb's relationship. I know it's creepy and it's about her father issues, but I really shipped them. Rewatching it, Trinity's hot reporter daughter, I forgot her name, Christine Hill. I have watched this season so many times, but rewatching it this last time, that twist of her being the daughter still caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching it, and that part of, like, Dad, where she, like, calls him up, or, like, he shows up at her apartment, I mean, I was still like, what a twist. Like, I was still so shocked, although my brain was like, she already knew this, you've already seen this, but it still, like, threw me. And I think the fact that I've seen this season so many times, and that still shocked me, shows, like, what a good season this was with the writing.
Oh my God, Davis, get out of here. They also definitely messed up Deborah more. I feel like Deborah every season is going through some extreme trauma, you know?
How much trauma can you put one woman through? Jesus Christ.
No.
You can put her through 8 seasons before killing her.
Oh my God. Don't bring it up. Okay. We're not there yet.
Oh, we'll get there.
This is up there with season 1 for me. Like, Trinity is such a good, he's just so good as the big bad. I like the theme of Family Man, and that's really what adds the intrigue to Arthur. Rita is the only part about this season that is kind of like a downer for me, but also she dies at the end. So her being the problem kind of disappears at the end and creates its own problem for the next season.
You know, after the credits start rolling for the episode, you just sit there and think, oh my God, I have to deal with this for 1 year? Like, where are they gonna go? You know? Trinity's dead, but so is Rita, and the only person home is Dexter. It's gonna look like him. It was also really good with the theme of Family Man, because it kind of felt like after taking care of Arthur, he kind of did it, and everything that, you know, would have messed up in his life at that point had been shelved. He could kind of get back into a regular routine, you know, get Rita off his case. They're going to take this vacation and reconcile and kind of amend their relationship. And it's the complete opposite when he gets to the house and finds out she went back, and that was the end of her. You know, that was her mistake.
Yeah. So where do we put this? We're definitely, I'm like between A and S.
Yeah, I think an A.
I think an A.
Yeah.
Season 5, we have the Barrel Girls. In this case, we have multiple killers, but the big bad is really Jordan Chase. Love interest is Lumen Pierce from Minnesota, don't you know?
Just a cat that hiccups and farts at the same time.
Cute.
The theme is grief and moving on. Notable things
Yeah.
about this season, we get a drunk preteen Aster and Stan Liddy PI.
I felt like it was fine, as far as Dexter kind of helping her deal with the trauma. But when it started becoming a relationship kind of thing, that's when it kind of got weird for me, or I felt like the storyline didn't hold up as well.
And then the theme, grief and moving on. It needed to be a theme.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it was the only thing they could do theme-wise after Rita dying.
So where do we put this guy?
I think we're gonna have to put him D.
That's fair. Season 6. The big bad is the Doomsday Killer / Travis Marshall, played by Colin Hanks, and Professor Geller. I'm throwing him in there because we thought he was part of this, played by Edward James Olmos. We know him from the Selena movie and Stand and Deliver.
That's not a bustier.
Our love interest is the chick from high school, ?
I think that's why I liked that season a little bit too, was because there was no heavy love interest for Dexter at that point.
Yep. And then the theme
there was no distractions there.
Yeah. The theme is religion. Other notable things about this season, Deb becomes captain. I think it's huge. Trying to bring the apocalypse with the tableaus, so we get some really cool creative kills out of this season.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Brother Sam. Person gets kidnapped, and Michael C. Hall and Jennifer Carpenter got divorced during this season.
Yeah.
So killer. We'll start with the killer. Or killers. I don't know. I loved the twist of one of them not being real. Of Professor
I definitely
Geller.
didn't. Yeah.
I didn't see it coming either. I like a good twist where I genuinely didn't see it coming.
Same. And it just made sense. They played it really well as far as the non-existent person being the one in charge.
I just felt like the theme gave us some really cool creative kills that we maybe hadn't seen since the ice truck killer days. Where do you put this guy?
I think I put it maybe at a B then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 7. Our big bad is Isaac Zirko. We'll get into it, I guess. Love interest, Hannah McKay. And theme. I had a hard time finding a theme for this season. I think it's normalcy, because we get these shots of Dexter imagining getting old with Hannah, and that she's like gardening, and he's like coming home from work, and like Harrison's going to some sporting practice. So I thought normalcy. And then the notable things about this season, Deb tells Dexter that she's in love with him, like in love with him.
Yeah.
She's
coincidentally after their divorce, right?
Yeah. I'm like, what writing room hates Deb or hates Jennifer Carpenter or even Dexter? Like, if we just got divorced, why are you giving us like a stepbrother, stepsister love interest?
Ooh, no, it's not good.
Like, they pissed off the head writer or something. Something went wrong.
Do you think it was a personal grudge against the writers, like and that was a specific thing?
It had to be. Like, it had no... I felt like it wasn't warranted in the story. Like, they just can't siblings.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It was a very creepy take on that.
And R.I.P. LaGuerta.
Nah, LaGuerta's gotta go.
The story itself is like just a placeholder for everything from the end of last season to kind of play out, of like Deb coming to terms with Dexter being a killer, and Dexter having to deal with Deb coming to terms with it, and LaGuerta, like...
It was starting to die down for me at that point, I think. it just felt very anticlimactic for me. It was, I don't think I've even revisited that season or the last two because of that.
How do you feel about Hannah McKay?
I don't like Hannah. I personally never trust Hannah. I never feel like she's a good fit for Dexter, especially because she has her own history and stuff. And she definitely, plays by her own rules, her own set of code.
That's true. She's like, why can't you just, she kind of does say something to him, like, why can't you just kill to kill? Like, why do you have to have a code?
Yeah. I think this one's definitely
a common interest. Like, when you give your friends dating advice, you, like, have a common interest. Okay, where do we put this guy?
I think we put this one on E.
Oof. It's an E season. If your theme's normalcy, I'm sorry. We're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Season 8. We've made it to the infamous season.
This last season ruined my favorite show. It had its ups and downs, but I stuck with it. For the love of the show, I stuck with it through its ups and downs. I thought they'd at least do me justice as far as giving me something to be okay with. I know it's really hard, but it's Game of Thrones bad, almost.
Oh, it is. Oh my god. I think when we watched Game of Thrones finale together, I said it was as bad as the end of Dexter.
Yeah, it gives you the same feeling of I've loved this show for the last couple of years, and you guys really just let me down with this last one.
You just gave me like more PTSD than season 8 by talking about Game of Thrones in the same breath. The big bed moment.
Yeah. Who pooped the bed?
My God.
Dexter did in season 8.
I have a lot to say about this, especially since I recently rewatched it for the first time in 7 years. The big bad was the brain surgeon, Vogel's son. Love interest is Hannah McKay again. I think she's our only, apart from Rita, our only love interest that's reoccurring. And our theme is...
I think it could also be New Beginnings, because Dexter's mind is in starting over. He wants Harrison to be safe, and essentially what he does keeps everybody around him in danger, and maybe it's just time for him to start over and do what he can to not put everybody in harm's way and have a regular life, or whatever regular life he could truly have at that point.
Notable things about this season, we meet Dr. Evelyn Vogel. She's the psychopath whisperer, and we learned that she's actually the person who created the Code of Harry. And
oh yeah,
it's really nice to have that tie back to the beginning as we're about to have our new beginning. Dexter gets an apprentice, so he's trying to show a young killer his code. We get a lot of cameos of people just because it's the last season and we're saying bye-bye. Deb dies, which I had totally forgotten. Something I remembered in the rewatching that I must have like totally blacked out. And the part that I can never forget is that Dexter fakes his death and becomes a lumberjack.
For them to give us that ending felt like maybe they didn't know what they could have done to do something better. Maybe they just didn't have enough time. Who knows? Like I don't know why they gave us that ending. Maybe they just wanted Dexter to be the person who suffered the most, but I think at the end of it, it was really the viewers, because they didn't tell us the story we really wanted to hear.
The most beef I have with this season is probably the last 15 minutes of the last episode. Like, I feel like most of the season was okay, Like, even our killer was more interesting than Isaac Serco, more interesting than maybe Jordan Chase. When I was in college and in some of my writing workshops, something that was regularly brought up was the plausibility police. Like, is what is happening in your story even plausible? And there's so many things at the end that I'm like, this would never happen in real life. And it adds to the terribleness of the story, I feel like. Like, when Deb dies and the hurricane is coming and Dexter rolled up to the hospital and just parked his boat on the dock of the hospital during the hurricane. Like, number one, not gonna.
Yeah.
He takes her dead body out of the hospital and just, trolleys her out, picks her up, and takes her into the boat and drives off with the boat. Like, not a single nurse or doctor or anything stopped him from doing that.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, no.
A hurricane is about to hit, so this is supposed to be like the thing that makes us rush, is like, dude, the hurricane's coming, like, this is time sensitive, you going to Argentina, like, escaping going to Argentina. No, he drives into the hurricane. There's no wind, there's no rain, but there's supposed to be this crazy hurricane coming, and we can literally see it in the background, all CGI'd in one of the shots. But it's not even, no rain, no wind, no anything. And then he dumps her body in. Like, you don't think Deb had any friends that she wants a funeral? Or for Joey to kiss her and say goodbye? Like, and then the lumberjack.
Yeah, that part, I think that's the part that didn't make sense to anybody. I mean, shit, he can be a lumberjack, but he seems like he would still shave even as a lumberjack, he's got his fascination with knives. He's got to keep it clean cut, man.
Oh my god. Well, maybe it's to be like that he's the opposite of the Dexter we see in the trailer.
Yeah.
Or not the trailer, in the opening credits.
Yeah, it doesn't, especially with the way his mindset was in just earlier that season. He was already thinking again about starting a new life, and well,
he did. He started his new life as a lumberjack.
But he could have totally gone with Hannah, and I get that Deb died, but I feel like realistically, the Dexter we know, or at least the Dexter I think I know, would have maybe still stuck to his original plans, and Deb's passing wouldn't have, at that last second, caused him to fake his death.
I know where this goes. You know where this goes.
Yeah, it's F for sure.
It's F tier. I'm tempted to move all of these up one to just leave him even more lonely.
It makes sense because we need to see the difference between how the last season really made us feel.
All of them. Move them all up one tier. So it's in a league of its own in how terrible it was. But you're right. Okay, I shouldn't cheat the system out of anger. You're right. We just did all that hard work. Well, now that we've tiered these seasons and we've talked about the previous 8, let's get into what we think should happen in season 9.
Season 9, baby.
Yeah.
What?
Our chance at a better ending. So that's pretty much the context we got. Like, the limited.
I was gonna say the stuff you wrote down, was that confirmed?
Yeah.
Hey fellow fans, the audio in this portion of the video is pretty bad, so I thought I'd voice over it. Season 9 of Dexter is going to be a limited series where we're bringing the show back purely to give Dexter a better ending. Something our guest would be happy to see happen with Game of Thrones if we could somehow fix that mess. Anyway, Season 9 will pick up where the finale or last finale left off, and it will assume that 7 years has passed. So we're not going to pretend that Michael C. Hall hasn't aged since the last season, and Harrison will be older than he was when the show ended. Also, there will be no take-backsies. Anything that happened in season 8 of Dexter, none of it will be a fever dream. Nothing that Deb hallucinated. Deb is dead. No take-backsies. We're moving forward with everything that has happened. Our guest worries about how they'll deal with writing on top of season 8 and hopes that they can still give us a good ending considering what they have to work with. He's excited and gonna watch it for sure. He also anticipates Harrison possibly having a dark passenger and that being a huge plot point of season 9. He low-key hopes that Hannah won't be making a return. He doesn't know if they're gonna hold on to the whole Canadian lumberjack thing. I don't know if it was confirmed that he was in Canada. Our guest might be assuming that. Dexter may not be able to go back to Miami because he faked his death. I'm just really hopeful that they bring him back there, just because Miami is a character in Dexter, in my opinion. Our guest jokes that the Will Smith song, Welcome to Miami, will play if Dexter returns to Miami. He also wonders if they'll bring anybody from our old cast back, since there's no more affiliation with Batista and Masuka and the old crew, since they think he's dead. Our guest also brings up how maybe they can return back to form and look at the books for inspiration. Then I go into what I tried to come up with for a season 9. I worked off of the framework we came up with in criteria of there being a big bad that is a killer throughout the season, a love interest, and an overarching theme. An opening image I came up with is it being a dark and snowy night. Dexter sits in an empty diner. An older woman resembling Camilla Fig from Miami Metro's records department serves our bearded, flannel-wearing Dexter a slice of key lime pie. Dexter reads the newspaper. The main headline reads, Sheriff disappears after murder of fellow chief deputy and majors. At that moment, Deb appears over his shoulder as Harry previously did. Dexter is in Alaska, outlaw country, where some police officers have pleaded guilty to violent charges. There are 2 things I can't imagine Dexter without, one being Deb and the other being Miami. So something I would hope to see in season 9 is both those come into play. And what I came up with, I would replace Harry as Dexter's conscience with Deb, and maybe allude to that Dexter hasn't had this conscience since Deb died, since he hasn't been the Dexter that we know, that serial killer of serial killers. And when he reads this headline about a cop killer, Deb appears as she is a fellow cop killer herself, but also has a deep association with conscience and doing the right thing. I think this cop killer could be the big bad for this season, and that this cop killer could encourage Dexter to get back into his Dexter ways and kind of restart that part of his personality and restart the show. A mechanism we can use to get Dexter back to Miami is Hannah McKay. Last time we saw Hannah, she was on the run after she killed her husband, Miles Kastner. He was wealthy, and his family already assumed that she was planning on killing him for money. So we can maybe have something in the news about Hannah McKay being extradited to Miami after her husband's wealthy family hires a PI to track her down. And maybe in this news, a young boy that lived with her is mentioned, kind of inciting Dexter to go back to his life. I imagine Dexter encountering our cop killer at the end of episode 1, encouraging him to return to his Dexter life and having him be mute for most of the episode, and once that theme music hits at the end of the episode, have him clean up and return to his ways. I do think Dexter needs to die at the end of season 9. Just like in Breaking Bad, I think the writers can find a way to redeem Dexter. It can be Harrison that kills him. I'm not set on that. I think that's something that maybe too many people are expecting. I just want to see some closure out of this season that we didn't get in the last. And I think that needs to be death, unfortunately. I recognize that my season 9 opening image may sound very Breaking Bad, but I honestly associate breakfast more with Dexter than I do Walter White, but fair criticism. I just like the image of the key lime pie, so it alludes to possibly Dexter being poisoned and dying. Who knows? We're both rooting for the writers to succeed in this situation. We want Dexter to get not necessarily a happy ending, but an ending that he deserves. Nothing would be sadder if they brought Dexter back and it was equally or somehow worse than what we got. Don't do us dirty, writers. We're counting on you. If by any chance somebody from Showtime or production is watching, listening to this video, if you need a focus group, hit us up. We've got thoughts and feelings and happy to share them. Again, I want to thank my brother for joining me and talking about Dexter. Please let us know in the comments what you think about our tier list, what you think about our predictions for season 9, what you hope to see in season 9. We'd really love to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe if you feel compelled to. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Catch you guys later. Bye!